Ho, ho, ho. Merry Christmas, everybody. This is the Sliders Review, and I'm here today to talk to you in the month of December, since it is Christmas time and the holiday time, about Becker Season 2, Santa on Ice. I've never talked about Becker. One day I am. This was a great show, but a long time ago I had no idea. See, when this show was in production back in the day, I never knew that whatsoever. This came out towards like the late 90s, maybe early 2000s and stuff. And it was on CBS. The only way I knew about this show was many years after it got canceled on syndication. I miss rerun syndication. That was so good. They still do some rerun stuff on syndication, so that's cool. But what's really the point when you can just watch it on streaming? But a lot of stuff isn't on streaming, and a lot of that you have to pay for. So, and I have no idea if Becker's even on streaming and stuff. But anyways, one day I will be talking about Becker because it was a great show. Basically, it's Ted Dancing, and he played Dr. Becker, John Becker, and he is a doctor in the Bronx at like a clinic, but he is the most grumpiest person. He's basically Scrooge all year round. Everything bugs him, everything makes him complain, and he's always shouting at people, being grumpy. He's just like a hateful person, and that what makes him so funny. And so, like, basically, he comes in and he's being his grumpy self and talking. He goes to this local diner, which is run by Reggie. Now, Reggie is interesting because she's played by the actress who was Lieutenant Commander Jadzia Dax. And so after she was fired from the Star Trek show, she went on to that show. Now, it's a little confusing as to what really happened between her firing from Star Trek and her hiring of Becker, and then because when it comes to Becker, it still gets confusing because either she left in the last season or she got fired in the last season. But something happened. There's really no telling. There's so many different rumors and speculations online, but she literally has come out and said when it comes to Star Trek, she was fired. And stuff like that. It was the rumor that she wanted more money, and when she didn't get it, she quit. But it was something about they were negotiating her contract because it was up, and something came up, and then they decided, oh well, we're not going to pay you this much, and we're just going to fire you and stuff like that. So and so I felt bad because I loved her on Star Trek so much. She was so good on that show. And she was actually funny on that show. Now, when it comes to Becker, that's a different story. She's not a comedian. And it shows big time throughout the entire series. I love her to death, but she's just not funny on Becker. Like, she's just not. Well, it was weird because I read somewhere that she said she regrets leaving Star Trek and I think going to Becker. So I don't know what really happened with all that. But all I know, in the last season, they got rid of her and Becker, which made no sense because she was just about to start a relationship with Becker towards the end of the season that she was last on. And then all of a sudden, she's now like gone. And of course, the last season of Becker was the last season because they introduced all these new characters and it just wasn't good no more. The last season is the only one I don't like. The first season is good, but it's not that funny. But in the second season, oh, that's when stuff got funny. So anyway, so he goes to her diner place and he's complaining, and so she's there and she's talking about how she's gonna have a Christmas party, and so Jake is the blind guy and he's trying to put up Christmas decorations, but the thing is he's not putting up Christmas decorations. He's putting up St. Patrick's Day decorations. And they let him know that and stuff. Now, the dude who plays Jake, he is not blind in real life. In fact, he was one of the teachers on Boy Meets World. He was the black teacher who was there in middle school, but then left after the kids went to high school and stuff. And he was never seen from again. And so now that middle school transition was a weird one when it comes to Boy Meets World. But anyway, so like she's telling him that like she's having this Christmas party. He said he doesn't want to go. He doesn't like being around people. He hates being around people. He hates talking to people, stuff like that. Well, Bob comes in. I think Bob showed up in the second season, I believe. And Bob is just this short, like Italian guy who's like really rude, annoying, and he's always hitting on Reggie. And basically, he hits on any woman he sees and stuff. And so he really has a crush on her, and he wants to go to her party, and she's like, no. And but he's gonna go anyway. And so like when he heads to work, now this is what's interesting. In the first season, his work buddies never interacted with his diner buddies at all. Maybe in one episode and one episode only. But then starting in the second season, now they're all constantly hanging around each other. So I always thought that was kind of interesting. So at his work, he has Margaret, and she's like the receptionist lady, and she's very stern. She has like a witty sense of humor and a sarcastic one at that. And she basically lays down the law, and she calls Becker by his name John mostly. Every now and then she'll say Dr. Becker when she gets like really annoyed with him, but she pretty much just calls him John. Everybody else, like I know Jake calls him John and Reggie calls him Becker. Um, but Linda is the assistant to Margaret, and Linda is basically mentally inept. She's like this extremely hot, attractive, dresses sexy 24/7. She never dresses like professionally and stuff. And if she does, she'll just put on like a doctor's lab coat over her sexy outfit. She's really like dense in the head, and she just loves to party and date men and stuff like that. Um, and she's hilarious, but she is the only person who only calls him Dr. Becker. She never calls him by his first name because she has respect for him and stuff. And so, like, she wants to do like Secret Santa. But there's only three people that work there. John's already like, he ain't doing it. So then she goes to Margaret, so like, so she has like a little hat with names in it for Secret Santa, and she's all like, Margaret, it's time to do the Secret Santa thing. And Margaret's just kind of like, without Dr. Becker, like, there's only two people left, and she's all like, I wonder who I'm gonna get. Like, she's just insane. So Margaret wants to go to Reggie's party, so she's trying to close up early. So anyway, Santa comes in, a man dressed as Santa. He's like just a regular person who lives there in the Bronx. And so he comes in with a cigar, and he's all like, he ain't feeling good. He has chest pains. Gee, I want to know why with that cigar in his hand. So anyway, um, let's get to Reggie. So Reggie leaves the diner and go gets the Christmas tree. And when she gets a Christmas tree, it's actually a pretty funny monologue with Christmas music. She's walking around town with the Christmas tree. You know, when people in New York, they walk around everywhere, and they rarely have cars. So she's walking around, but the tree is huge. And there's tons of rude people in New York just pushing and shoving, and the tree gets mangled bad. Then it gets ran over. It started off as a thick, full tree, and now it's just basically like something off of like Charlie Brown. It's just a stick with a couple of like twigs and stuff to it. And so, like, while she's doing that, Bob has decided he's gonna cook at the diner because people are hungry. And the thing about Reggie is this: there's a running gag is that she cannot cook. Her food is terrible. Bob goes there and everybody's like loving his food. Now there's a new character that got introduced into this season, a large man. Um, Becker calls him Mr. Williams. I have no idea what the dude's first name is. So while he's doing that, Jake is putting up the Christmas lights. And so Becker shows up and he asks Becker straight, what are you doing for Christmas and stuff? And he's like, nothing. I don't want to do nothing. I don't want to talk to nobody. And so like, um, what is it? ooh, what is it? So, he eats Bob's food and he's like loving it. And so Bob's all like, I'm not even gonna tell you if I wash my hands or not. So everybody stops eating. And so Jake is trying to fiddle around with the Christmas lights, and every time he keeps turning them on, he's all like, are they working? And they're all like, no. So then he tries it again, like for the fifth time, and they're getting tired. So they're all like, yeah, it looks great, it's not on and stuff. And so then at some point Reggie comes in with the tree, and they all making fun of the tree and stuff like that. And then um so now back with Margaret and all them. So at some point John's back there and he's attending to a man. The man is supposed to be I forget who, but he has a black eye because the Virgin Mary in this play punched him and stuff. I think he's Joseph or something like that. And so then the Santa's still there, and so it's time for him to see the doctor now. And so Linda goes over to like go get him, but he's not moving. His head is down, and she's constantly like telling him like it's your time and shaking him. Then she picks up his hand and it drops. She takes his pulse with a big old smile on her face because there's kids around. And she goes to Margaret. She's all like, I think Santa's dead. and so like she told him like she took the pulse and everything like that. When they turn around, there are kids on his lap talking about, I'm on this for Christmas, and I'm on that for Christmas. And the dude is like deader than dirt. Oh God. So the next scene where Becker's upset, he tried to do everything he could to save that man's life, but couldn't. So like this actually happened before Becker went back to the diner. I just wanted to say the diner stuff first because it was pretty like interesting. So anyway, Becker has to go to the morgue and identify this guy. And when he's there, of course it's one of those creepy morgue guys. There's this older guy and he's kind of lonely a little bit. And he doesn't have many friends that are coming down there because, it's like the morgue type stuff. And he's like, well, actually before that, Becker and Linda got into it because Linda's all like, man, Santa dying on Christmas Eve. That's like so. And he's all like ironic. She's like, no, it's not that. It's another word. And so he's all like, no, it's ironic. And she's like, no, it's oogie. And he's just like, what is wrong with you, child? So when he's at the morgue dude's all like, this is so ironic, and Santa's dying on Christmas Eve. And Becker's like, yes, ironic. Like, that's the word and stuff. So what's interesting with the whole morgue stuff is that because it's so cold down there, he offers him a beer. And so he opens up one of the doors that, you put like a body in, and there's tons of cases of beer in there. And he's all like, you want some shrimp? It's in the other one. So he opens up the other door, and when he pulls it out, there's a body in there. And between his feet is like a tray of shrimp. He closed it. He's like, no thank you. And so the morgue guy really gets to Becker, not in an annoying kind of way, but he pretty much makes Becker feel sad because he tells Becker, this dude dying, like, he had nobody to identify him, like no next of kin, no nothing. Could you imagine living your life as an adult all alone and not spending the time in the holidays? So that makes Becker feel kind of like really sad and stuff. And so when he leaves, he decides he's going to change his life a little bit. He's going to go to Reggie's party. And so when we see Reggie at her party and stuff, Linda thinks, she compliments Bob on cooking the meal. I think this is the first time Bob has ever met Linda. Because like I said before, in the first season, they didn't interact at all. And he wasn't even in the first season, I don't think. And so, like, of course, he hits on her because that's just what Bob does. And so, unfortunately, not only does he hit on her, because she's wearing she's wearing leather pants, and she's wearing an extremely tight shirt, and he is just like staring her down and stuff. But she doesn't like the idea of getting hit on by Bob, so she leaves, which is ironic because, like, she would date any kind of man, but she would not date Bob and stuff. Oh, one thing I forgot to mention, and Becker. So when they was at Reggie's like Christmas party, Margaret and Linda exchanged gifts. Linda got a alarm clock from Margaret because Linda's always late for work and talking about how she's never had an alarm clock. And so instead, she gave Margaret a shawl, and she explains, because Margaret's all like, "Oh, this is just like the one I used to have when I was younger that my grandma made." And Linda went beyond and like above. When she heard that story, she called up one of Margaret's like relatives and gotten like a picture of what it looked like. Then she took like a sewing class and she sewed it by hand after work and took like a night class. I'm just like, wow, she really went out there to get her like the greatest gift. And then she's all like, but thanks for the alarm clock. But she doesn't say it in a sarcastic manner. She says it in a really an actual happy manner because, you know, she's like so goofy in it and stuff like that. But it comes off as being sarcastic, like she didn't like her gift. And so like, um, when Bob about to leave, he wants a hug from Reggie. And she doesn't want to hug him, touch him, or nothing. So she puts on like this big coat that she sees and she gives him a hug so he won't have to touch his body. He won't have to touch her body. And then he's all like, "Merry Christmas, can I have my jacket back?" She is repulsed because she's wearing his jacket. Like those two are just so hilarious and stuff. So like everybody's leaving the party, and as soon as everybody leaves, Jake touches the lights to turn the lights off. But now they finally turned on, and everybody's like, "Wow!" And he's like, "What?" Because he can't see, and they're like, "Nothing." So everybody leaves, and then it's just Reggie in there. She's about to leave, and Becker shows up, and he's all like, "Oh no, I missed the party." And she's like, "Yeah, but why do you care?" And everything. So he's all like, "Oh well, you know, maybe I'll just get like a burger or something like that." That's what he always gets when he goes there. And she's all like, "Well, you're gonna have to fix it yourself because I'm about to leave and spend time with family and stuff." And so he's like, "Oh, I just get like a pack of cigarettes," because he smokes big time on this show. But anyway, he leaves, she leaves, and she's a little sad because she realizes he wanted to spend time with people. So when he's in his apartment, he gets like his Chinese food delivered. And that's another thing about him. He loves having Chinese food and stuff. And so the delivery guy is shocked because Becker's acting nice towards him. And he don't understand why, because he's always mean to him. So he leaves and there's another knock at the door. He thinks it's the delivery dude, but it's Reggie with her mango tree, and she gives it to Becker so he can have something for Christmas time. And then, you know, she leaves and he actually turns the lights on the Christmas tree, and he's happy and excited that the Christmas tree has lights. And it's just for the first time you see him smile in an actual genuine kind of way. And then the most hilarious thing happens. It pans outside his window and he's like eating his food or something like that, and you see like these sparks happening on the Christmas lights, and then like he's like panicking, and he's trying to like take put out the fire and stuff. Now you can't hear nothing that's going on because we're like outside, and he's inside and stuff like that, and it's just hilarious seeing him jump up and down trying to put the fire out. Oh man, I miss this show. They don't make good shows like this no more. And I never knew CBS had such good shows like this and the King of Queens and stuff, man. Like it's just so good. Bah humbug, that was a good episode. All right, everybody. I'll talk to you later. Bye.